You're listening to the AF Playbook Podcast with David Ford, the show that teaches you all about internet marketing.
All right, so today I have a John Monarch, who is the owner of Direct Outbound, and I heard a rumor that you have a call center. Is this true?
That's a vicious rumor.
I don't think you can go on a Facebook group without hearing that at least once a day or something.
Yeah, and it was just funny how that got started. It was kind of a few people ended up referencing me, and after that it got going pretty hard on the groups, and then all of a sudden Drew Clement out of nowhere just throws it out there at the affiliate ball at ASE in Philadelphia.
Oh, really? Nice. So tell us, we'll get to Direct Outbound, but tell us kind of what your background is up to this point. Like, how did you get started in the industry, and what did you do before this?
Yeah, I took kind of a strange path, actually. I was originally in physics. I was a scientist. I got my bachelor's at Clemson and was kind of experimenting around with online advertising. I think I ran my first Facebook campaign back when it was, I don't remember what it was called, but it was a completely different type of ad back in like 2008. It was like a flyer is what they called it, I think.
Okay.
Fast forward a little bit, went to grad school, got my funding cut. Didn't really work out too well. I was getting a doctorate in physics, and then started working as an affiliate manager of all things
Really?
for a now defunct network named Yep Revenue.
Okay. I remember them.
Yeah,
Hearing of them, yeah.
big into mobile for a long time.
Yeah.
Got a lot of contacts through that, and then started actually partnering on offers after I had some successful campaigns as an affiliate, and just really went full time into this and started getting into the offer service side after trying out different providers and things like that, and just feeling like, wow, we can do this. I know the back end now, and it's expanded from there.
Okay. Interesting. So you were just not, you didn't have a lot of passion for physics, is that, or just?
I enjoy it, and I still enjoy it. I just it was one of those things that it's kind of like music for me too. If I were to make a career out of it, it would lose all the fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. So, that's pretty cool. And then, how did you build Direct Outbound? I mean, where did you start? You had some knowledge, and you figured, okay, I can kind of do this. And how did you start a call center and start getting clients?
Well, originally, based on the name, it was supposed to be an outbound call center for sales to partials, which we can discuss further. But it was a friend of mine who actually went to Clemson with me. He and I discussed like, yeah, we should do this. We can give it a go. And then it was an offer I was working with at the time, and so it's like, okay, well, we will do the partial dialing and we'll do the sales. So it turns out we were not very good at teaching people how to sell on the phones at the time.
Okay.
So we reversed directions and did customer service, and got our first client, and then took off from there.
Okay. And how many employees do you have now?
We are right at around 200.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and the company's just a little bit over 2 years old.
So do you hire people locally?
100%.
Yeah.
We are based in Greenville, South Carolina, and everyone's from around here.
Wow. Is it difficult managing that many people?
It has its ups and downs. It has everything, like everything else. It has its challenges, but the biggest thing is having a good management team in place. And I like to think that we have probably one of the best that I've ever seen.
Okay, cool. So before we get much further, we were talking about, I don't really know. I know some stuff about how offers work, obviously, and everything, but there's a lot of stuff on the back end, I guess if you want to call it that affiliates really aren't aware of. They kind of don't know what happens. We usually just grab an offer from a network and send traffic to it, and that's kind of it. We might know that there's a mysterious advertiser behind the product, and sometimes they kick us off, but I was hoping that we could kind of go into detail about how an offer is basically set up on the back end, like kind of from start to finish. What are all the components of it, if that's a good question? Or
Yeah, definitely. One of the key things is that across most types of offers, a lot of people don't see it as similar, but it really is. That how a dating offer and a diet offer, for instance, could actually be similar, but it's really based on how is the customer getting the product or service, how can they have customer service, and how can you keep them on board.
Okay.
So that question is kind of those questions are kind of universal. So one of the ones that we're well versed in is physical products. So for us, it becomes when people come to us, they say, "All right, we're launching this product.
Mhm.
We need to get it into the customer's hands, and we need to be able to have customer service for them." So their product arrives in our warehouse. We ship it out for them directly to the customer. We take the calls for customer service and assist in making sure that their offer is staying live, basically. So it's a delicate balance of keeping the customer not pissed off enough to, complain, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
but also keeping the advertiser happy enough that they're not, refunds aren't just going out the door easily. So it's really kind of an odd balance that we have to keep.
Now, do you have anything to do with the affiliate networks at all, or are you just there like supporting the offer owner, the product?
Direct outbound is supporting the offer itself.
Okay, got it. So if say I came to you and I said, hey John, I have this idea for this newest product I want to build. Just say it's like a diet product or
Mhm.
offer or something. What are the steps involved in setting that up, kind of from I don't know, from start to end? If I didn't know anything, what would you say? Where do you start? Like, I think a lot of people don't even know about getting a product made or manufactured if it's that kind of thing, not like lead gen.
Right, and getting manufactured product is actually, one of the later steps, surprisingly,
Mm,
because there are so many different manufacturers, private labelers, suppliers out there, and everyone's going to tell you that they're the best.
right.
To start off with, I usually recommend people build the design and everything, all of the tech side first.
Okay.
Because once they've got that down, what they can do is they can start applying for merchant accounts and for products.
Okay.
So they can start discussing with private labelers or manufacturers, how the best way to go about this is, what the product of choice is. And once they have that, they can apply for their merchant accounts, which is really one of the more challenging portions that people deal with. Uh, and, let's say you're talking about a diet program, like you said, it's more of a, everything like that is classified as high risk. And
Mm-hmm.
quite honestly, most things that we deal with in direct response internet marketing are going to be classified as high risk, unless
Okay.
it's very basic e-commerce. And that's just the way the banks are. High risk doesn't mean that they're assuming you're a scam. Basically, it means that you have this industry has shown itself to be more at risk for chargebacks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like internet direct response that is, high risk. Of all things, the travel industry is actually declared as high risk
Oh.
because there's several reasons for that. Actually, one is airlines, small ones in particular, go out of business routinely and then
Mm,
can't refund customers money, so the customer will go and complain to their bank.
okay.
Two, the customer will have a non-refundable ticket and they'll go complain to the bank after they have to cancel their flight for whatever reason. So in that regard, our industry is typically very classified as high risk. And so a lot of guys have trouble getting merchant accounts, but it's really not as difficult to process as long as your terms and conditions are locked down. You know what you're doing on the service side. So when you apply, you should have your customer service in place,
Mhm.
toll-free numbers, typically around, at least if you're 9 to 5, we're a 24/7 center.
Okay.
So once you have all that in place, you get the merchant accounts going, and then you start focusing on the traffic. So it's really kind of like a logistical dance that you're doing all at once.
Yeah, I see. That's interesting. So back to the high risk thing, is even something like if I built an offer that was for, I don't know, house siding quotes or something, would that be classified as high risk?
No, and typically you're not processing as a merchant for that.
Right.
So if it's something like a lead gen offer where you're not actually accepting credit cards, it's not classified as high risk, and
Okay.
it's not just processing at all. So you're just sending out the quotes. And
That's
when you're
true.
discussing
Yeah.
something like that, it's a little different too because you have to have different backend software than just a CRM.
True. True. Yeah. Um, do you guys handle the customer service for those kind of offers? Any lead gen or anything?
We do. Basically, anything phone related, we handle.
Okay. So what would that be? Like, say I came to you and I had this, lead gen offer and I wanted support with it. What is the call center's role in that? Like, do people call and say, "Hey, I can't fill out this form," or dumb
Typically, on
question.
a lead gen offer, what happens is there's two methods that people like to use when they own the offer. The first is it's a ping tree. So basically,
Hmm.
The lead goes into this ping tree system, and then the offer owner has, maybe 5 or 6 different lead buyers set up that want to contact that lead and sell to them.
Right.
So the data is automatically sent to them. The second way that some people have is they have a call center doing live transfers. So that lead comes in, the customer service agent or the call center agent calls the customer or the potential customer, the lead, starts, kind of buttering them up on what the program is, gives them some information, and then transfers them directly to the lead buyer. Hot transfer leads are worth more money to people than ping tree leads.
Okay. Yeah, because ping tree leads get shopped around, I guess, basically, or...
Well, even if you have exclusive leads, it's just better to have someone live on the phone ready to, close the sale.
Yeah, that makes sense. Huh, interesting. So, another thing I wanted to ask about the high risk thing, were things in the affiliate world, products or whatever, always considered high risk, or did it get even harder after the whole FTC thing and that,
A lot of them were always classified as high risk. There's a few reasons for it, because typically you're classified as card not present, which in itself adds some risk. Along with that, weight loss products specifically, or any kind of like weight loss, male enhancement, skincare, etc., because those had already been burned pretty hard by direct response TV.
Okay.
So once they hit the internet, it was still kind of the same classification. It just got worse back under acai berry, and that was a free for all for a long time. There were a lot of people doing a lot of things that were not allowed by the banks, and they just did it anyway.
Okay. Got it. So, how do you make your money then between, does the offer owner pay you a percentage of the sale, or is it like a flat fee for your service?
It depends on the type of campaign it is, actually. So typically on a customer service for like a weight loss product, for instance, we would either do per minute. So that's the per minute that the customer service agent is on the phone with the customer, versus like a lead gen campaign like that, where we would actually be the one sourcing the buyer.
Okay.
And then the live transfer would be sent to us, and then we sell the lead off and then pay out on a CPA.
Oh, got it.
We also allow people to have their own agent here. So they would pay by the hour. The agent is theirs to train, and we provide, the staffing, all the tax, the payroll issues. We provide the voice over IP, etc.
Okay, that's kind of cool. So it's kind of like their own. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Huh.
Yeah, it's like their own call center within a call center.
Yeah, huh. That's pretty neat. So pretty soon are people going to say that they heard you had a call center within a call center?
Oh God, it's like Inception.
I coined that term just so everybody knows in case. So when you're running a call center as the owner, do you have any kind of liability? Since you're dealing with refunds and stuff like that, where is your liability and how is it different from the offer owner's liability?
Typically, we're put on the line for things like the agent was too aggressive, or the agent, if they for whatever reason ever argued with the customer, threatened on that side of things. So we would have to handle it in that regard. We haven't really seen that happen.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that we train pretty heavily to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be pretty crucial.
Right. Along with that, we're also under the same scrutiny in that we can't make false claims on the phone. So if someone were to, say it's like, well, was this on Dr. Oz, for instance? That's the hot button one right now.
Right.
Our agent could say something along the lines of, the ingredient was featured, but not endorsed. We are not endorsed by Dr. Oz. We'd have to say that.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever the offer owner, tells us to say, essentially, as long as it's compliant within legal guidelines.
So do those things change a lot? Like, do you have to, the Dr. Oz thing and stuff, that might not have been relevant a while back, but are you always training for like new things and what you can say and can't say and stuff like that?
We are, and it's basically boils down to a few specific things. The main one being, don't lie to customers. We can't, that's the key there, is that once you start lying to customers, it becomes a real problem, and that we focus hard on that. We actually have a team in-house that all they do is audit calls. They listen to phone call recordings all day, every day, score them, and if there's an issue, they pull the agent aside, and it can be trained from then on.
Oh wow. So you have quite the setup. That sounds pretty cool. Did you I imagine you grew over time. You didn't just hire 200 people immediately. How many did you start out with?
It started pretty small, actually. Our first actual employee is one that a lot of people have seen at the conferences. Her name is Danielle. For a while there, when it started getting a little busy, but before we could justify, bringing in additional people, I was taking calls. I don't mind.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I bet you would kind of learn a lot about the type of customer that buys certain products from doing that.
You really do, and just how to work with them in general and make it so that they're not angry or not, wanting a refund, or even just helping them out with general questions.
Yeah. So how much does, I know this is going to vary a lot, but if you're building an offer, how much cash do you typically need to make it work? I mean, I'm sure it's more for like a product. So let's start out with that. If I said, hey, I want to, sling this new berry or whatever, how much would I need for like the manufacturing and to get all the tech side set up in the call center before I could even, start promoting it?
Right. So one of the biggest things about that is that with product, depending on who you're working with, you can do an order size that's a bit smaller.
Mm.
So let's say that maybe your product order is going to cost you $3,000 to $4,000 just in product itself.
Okay.
The tech side, you need to pick out a CRM, and
Mm-hmm.
pricing really varies widely based on that. There's people like to use there's Limelight, UltraCart, Connective, Orange, Triangle, and several others out there. So their pricing varies widely, but that can be, from ranging from several hundred to $1,000 a month or so, in that range.
Do you have a favorite among those? I've only used a few of the ones you mentioned, but
A favorite, that's really tough to say. I mean, we work very frequently with just what's most popular. So Limelight
yeah.
is one of the more popular ones. There's SalesStar also. We've seen that popping up. It just really, I wouldn't say we have a favorite because all of them have their pluses and minuses.
Sure. Sure. Okay, so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you
Yeah,
there.
no problem.
So yeah, go ahead, continue. So you have, your price of the product and then the CRM and
Right. And so on top of that, you have to figure out, design, coding into the CRM. So if you're good at coding, you can integrate it yourself.
okay.
Otherwise, you have to hire a coder or just to do it one time. We have a few people that we usually turn to for that. On top of that, then there's shipping costs. So there's to
Hmm.
have a warehouse fulfill it, there is a fulfillment charge plus postage,
Okay.
and then the customer service costs. So that's only when you're actually driving sales.
Sure.
Typically, if you wanted to start your own offer, not including traffic, you could really honestly do it 15,000 or less,
Okay.
not including traffic. That's one of the keys, though.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that was the next thing I was going to ask you about. But before I do, I thought I would ask if you can basically explain the role of a CRM, like what it does, because I bet a lot of people don't know what that is.
Definitely. CRM is the customer relations management portal. So anytime a potential customer puts their information in, not even to purchase, so if they just put their basic info in, it stores it in there. And then what happens is if they put their credit card in, it's connected to the credit card processing gateway that you use, whichever of your choice, or whichever banks you work with. It stores the information, and then it also sends it to the gateway for the actual billing portion of it. It can also control, let's say you're on a trial. If you have a trial product, it controls the dates in which people are billed. So if you have a 14-day trial, like is very common, on day one, person signs up, and then it has a timer and automatically will bill them on day 14.
Okay.
So the customer relations software really manages the entire subscription process. You handle your refunds in there typically, customer notes, maybe shipping out additional product for free, changing their info, and it's just got all of their basic information within it.
Yeah, makes sense. Um, so that was for a product. What about the process for a lead gen offer
For a lead gen offer,
and
the
cost
most
to set it up, I guess?
oh yeah, the most easy way to do it is to actually have a ping tree,
Yeah.
or just send the leads off to a single buyer if you're not pinging it out.
Hmm.
And starting up a lead gen offer is actually extremely inexpensive as long as you know the buyer or
Okay.
can find buyers. So at that point, it's just design, coding, traffic. So really with the ping tree set up, if you've got a few buyers, you've got your design, you've coded it up, it's all integrated together. It's essentially automated at that point as long as you have the traffic.
Okay. So, do you need a call center for a lead gen type offer?
It's not necessary. It
Okay.
just can often pay out more
Yeah.
if you're sending it directly to a call center that's buying the leads and then selling off the hot transfer.
Sure. Okay. Um, where do people generally find lead buyers? I mean, if I had an idea for a lead gen offer, how would I find out? Okay, are there people out there that are actually going to buy that? And if so, where are they?
This is one of those where face-to-face helps a lot,
Hmm.
or you can just put out the feelers on Facebook.
Hmm.
I'll just go on a group. There are click to call groups, there are lead buyer groups, and then the super affiliates group, things like that, where it's just like, hey, I have, or I generate these types of leads. I'm looking for a buyer, something like that. Or one of the more popular ones is, there's obviously Affiliate Summit, but dedicated specifically to that is LeadsCon.
Hmm.
So everyone, the buyers and sellers, all get together there, and that's a lot of stuff gets done at LeadsCon for lead gen.
Yeah, I've heard that's a really good show. I've never been to that one, but I'd really like to. I've heard it's good.
It's pretty business heavy, so it's not
Is it?
like the party show like Affiliate Summit can be.
Sure.
Which it's still Affiliate Summit's a great show. It's just a lot more different atmosphere, I should say.
Yeah, that makes sense. Explain to us what a ping tree is and where you get it and how you use that in your lead gen offer.
So a ping tree is software that when you get a lead into your form, it automatically sends it to the back end of that, which is integrated to the form. And then let's say you have multiple buyers, like buyer number one, buyer number two, lead buyers. Let's say buyer number one can only accept 100 leads today, and buyer number two can accept 50. So what'll happen is then you can prioritize them based on cap. So if lead buyer number one can accept 100, and then all of a sudden, you're done for the day, you've filled your 100 leads, but you can still send traffic, it'll automatically send those now to buyer number two. Well, a ping tree allows you to prioritize your buyers by different metrics. So it could be cap, it could be by how much they're paying, but prioritizes based on what you choose and where the leads go.
Okay, got it. Makes sense. So with a ping tree, you're still responsible for finding buyers, right? It's not like a
Right.
marketplace. Yeah.
Right. There are marketplaces out there. Offhand, I'm having a little trouble thinking of some, um, but I know they exist.
Is there a specific ping tree software that people use? Is it like different CRMs?
Well, ironically, Cake Marketing actually has one built into theirs.
Oh.
I think I've heard of another called Ping Post.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I know one of the forum moderators on F Playbook has Lead Wrench.
Lead Wrench is another.
Yeah.
They're good.
Okay.
So it's there's several of them out there. It's really just which one accurately sends the information, doesn't have any hiccups in it, and really which you prefer, pricing, interface, etc.
Sure.
Ease of integration.
Yeah. So that this is really good stuff. I'm making notes. And I keep thinking of things to ask.
Mhm.
But we were talking about so far building the offer and kind of what it takes um, but you made a good point. That's before you even start sending traffic. So with people that build the offer, do they normally just start sending traffic themselves? Do they try to get affiliates right away? And in your opinion, is one or the other a mistake to do right away?
If you are the type that you have your own traffic, if you are an affiliate and you're launching your own offer, it's good to keep running traffic to your own offer at first because it helps your cash flow.
Hmm.
Because obviously paying affiliates is going to be more expensive. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Because everyone, you're adding an additional step and they need to make money too.
Hmm.
Uh, but adding on affiliates is a volume play. So really at that point, you've proven the concept, you've proven the page, and it's good for internal testing. You can get, the EPCs and all that type of stuff from your internal traffic. And then once it's ready for affiliates, you can put it out to the masses, making sure that you have your merchant account cap if it's a physical product or anything accepting credit cards, or if it's a lead gen offer, making sure that your lead buyers have the daily cap to accept that kind of traffic.
Okay, got it. And what are some of the costs associated with getting your offer on a network, and how do you go about that? You just go to the network and say, "Hey, I have an offer. Can I, run it on your network?"
Basically, I mean, the cost is going to just be the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Most networks, you'd be talking to their business development team.
Mm-hmm.
So they usually have, one or many representatives that their entire job is advertiser relationships, boarding offers, making sure the technical side with the advertisers is working properly, and then communicating it to the affiliate managing team that, for instance, it's like, all right, we have 100 sales a day we can do on this offer. And then they tell the affiliate managers we have 100 a day, and they communicate that out internally and then goes on to their affiliates, or they help allocate it out to different affiliate managers to make sure that it's either going to the best performing or however the network does it internally.
Sure. What are some of the challenges of working with an affiliate network? I know, I've known people that have offers and stuff, and some of their frustrations are like fraud traffic and different things like that. How much of a problem is stuff like that, and keeping the quality up, kicking affiliates off the offer if it's not backing out?
Fraud traffic can be a big one, and that's I actually had that happen because I formerly owned offers. I don't anymore. We focus on the client side of the business only.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what had happened was we had received a bunch of stolen credit card numbers, and it was actually pretty difficult because we did have a fraud filter built in, and it caught most of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there were still some that made it through. So the benefit is that since we own the call center, we would call every single person that came from that affiliate ID to verify whether or not it was a real sale and cancel it accordingly before they were ever billed.
Uh, wow. Yeah. So, and then you have the problem, I guess, if you run on multiple networks of bad affiliates going from one network to another and kind of jumping around like that.
Right, because affiliate networks never want to share the name of the affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare when they do. So, of course, when they go to the next network, you're not able to verify the traffic without looking at, especially if they blank their referrers or hide things.
Sure.
It's pretty difficult. Usually, you can see some trends within fraud, though, based on the way they write the email address and the way they
Yeah.
do proxies and stuff like that.
Yeah. Different patterns. I've seen some of that.
Right.
So as affiliates, sometimes we get told that our traffic isn't backing out, but
hmm
I think a lot of affiliates, they have a basic understanding of what that means, but how does an offer owner decide that? How do they say, okay, this affiliate, the traffic's not backing out?
So it really depends on the type of offer. I'll stay on dating for example, because that's a pretty big one where that pops up
Yeah.
very frequently. So dating paid by the lead. Let's say you're getting $3 a lead, and the customer, if they buy, an account for something like that, let's say the account's worth a $30 sale. Well, at that point, to break even, 10 leads has to be lead to one sale, and that's just break even. That's not even a profit at that point. If suddenly one affiliate is sending 15 leads for every one sale, it's not backing out at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it ends up costing $45, but you're making 30. So you've just taken a loss of $15 per sale from that one affiliate ID.
Got it. Got it. So I imagine that's something that you have to watch pretty close if you um, don't want to lose a lot of money.
It is, and you can get software that will monitor, leads to sales, etc. A lot of tracking software will have that built in.
Mm-hmm. So you've been an affiliate and a product owner creator, and now the call center. What are some of the challenges that you saw, or going from affiliate to say more of like a actual business owner? What were some of the challenges or things you had to adjust? Going from one to the other.
The biggest one is going to be employees.
Okay.
Because that's a whole different world. Is when you're working from home and you're working crazy schedules, and it's like you're waking up at 7 p.m. and going to bed at 7 a.m. or something like that. it's and dealing with people more so, because a lot of people in our industry are a very different mentality than just people who come in for their jobs, and they're great people. It's just a very different mentality that you have to learn how to deal with everything and how to handle it as a management perspective, resolving conflict, making sure that there's not any issues, and that people actually enjoy where they're working.
Sure. Yeah, I would imagine that's kind of difficult. Does running your own business have as many ups and downs as affiliate marketing?
It does. It all does. I mean, it's just it may not be as drastic because you have multiple, we have multiple clients, and if one were to have issues or go down or something like that, it's not going to kill the business. Versus an affiliate that has one campaign,
Mm-hmm.
that might be their bread and butter, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're not backing out, or the offer went down. Oops, what do you do then?
Right. Right. Yeah, I've known a lot of affiliates who transition from being just an affiliate to, say, making an offer or a product, and some of them do really well with it and they go on, but others kind of hate it and they go back to being an affiliate because they say it's easier to deal with. So do you think some people just aren't prepared for what they need to do, or the work amount or money amount?
It could be a combination of any of those. Just because you might not be ready for the amount of management that really hands-on you have to do, especially for a very long time, before you can really groom management. Because if you don't know what you're doing, then you're not going to have be able to train managers that know what they're doing. It's just how it is.
Sure.
So it's just lack of preparation, or sometimes if someone really jumps in it very young. We have a lot of younger guys in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
That if they're jumping in and they're unprepared for it mentally or something like that, they just need a little bit of time before they kind of grow into it. And that's not knocking anyone. It's just that time helps.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think everybody, affiliates always think that somebody else is making more money or the grass is always greener, and I guess it's not always the case. It just depends on what you want to spend your time doing and what you're good at.
Yeah, we've seen our share of, just like I've seen affiliates that have fallen on hard times after going really strong. We've seen that with advertisers. We've seen that with basically everyone. So there's really no best place to be.
Mm-hmm. So if someone wanted to get into building offers, and trying that, do you think that lead gen would be the best place to start, or is there a certain niche or type of product?
The easiest one is to stick with something you're good at.
Okay.
It's basically, if you've been running diet for a long time, do diet. If you've been running, mortgage leads, stick with those. That's probably, and then you can branch out later once you've got, a good solid foundation.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
If people want to discuss, running an offer further, I'd be happy to talk with anyone.
Thanks a lot for doing that. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your info with us.
Awesome. And thanks again for this.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for tuning in to the AF Playbook Podcast, your source for growing your online business. For show notes and to read the latest blog posts,